What's up, everybody? Welcome in. Thanks for being here, Team Flynn. Hope you're having a great day on this Saturday, March. Where are we at? Saturday, March 21st. What's up, Just Samson, Jasmine? Good to see you here. Happy weekend. Hope you're all doing okay. Hope the family's well. Hope you're all staying safe, staying entertained, staying healthy. Watching probably a lot of Netflix, Disney Plus. Give me a comment in the chat if you're here and you've been watching some movies. What's a movie that me and April should check out? I'm very curious because obviously we all have a lot of time on our hands at this point. But with that time can also come great opportunities. Hot Breath Pod, good to see you here. I think my buddy Greg Hickman is in the house too. What's up, Greg? Hope you and the fam are doing well too. Francis Dutois is in the house. Let's see. Hot Breath Pod says, just subscribe to Ecamm Live. Thanks for all the valuable insight and inspiration in these themes. Awesome. Great job. Ecamm Live is a great tool. You know, I've had it for years. Actually, Ecamm, you might remember if you're in the podcasting space, is also the same tool that makes the Ecamm call recorder for Skype. And now that Skype has a built-in recording button, now you don't need a third-party software. So Ecamm is now really focused on their Ecamm Live product. And I think that's a really sort of great lesson because sometimes we just can't control what other people are doing or we can't control the situation that we're in. Ecamm having Skype build in essentially their product natively, well, you might think that, well, that company's doomed, but they've pivoted, they've done something even better. Now, what's interesting is Ecamm is likely going to become the replacement for Skype. Because I don't know if this is possible yet, but with Ecamm, they're likely going to be working on some stuff to help you with actually video conferencing from within, which is really cool. What's up, Greg? Good to see you. Peanut Butter Falcon, go. So good. Xenia, we got some usual faces here. This is great. You know, the cool thing about going live 5 days in a row, you start to see the usual sort of characters in the house, and I love that. Thank you all for sticking around and being here with me. Why do I do this? Why do I do this so early in the morning? It's 8 a.m. on the West Coast here. A lot of people are still asleep, especially while in quarantine, and especially on a Saturday. What am I doing up? Here's what I'm doing. I'm doing this because, number one, I'm holding myself accountable. I want to start the day in a great way coming from a place of service. It also forces me to get up. It forces me to get changed in the morning. And when you change in the morning and you kind of go right into work mode, and this is what this is for me, you sort of change and transform mentally sort of how you approach the day. So that's one. It's a very selfish reason, but I'm doing it for me. But I also know that we can all win because I'm here to serve you. I'm here to answer your questions, here to provide support, here to provide routine, here to provide something normal for you that you can look forward to. And I've had a number of people ask me, Pat, how long are you going to do this for? And I'm going to do it every single day until we're over this. Because we're all going to I feel personally that we are just getting started. This quarantine thing, this sort of lowering the curve, if you will, it's really important. But obviously when you flatten the curve, you extend out the length of this situation. And what we want to do is just obviously not overwhelm any of our sort of healthcare people because they're doing such great work for us right now. So if you're in the health industry or know somebody who's in the health industry right now, they're working overtime, big time, and they're putting themselves at risk. And big shout out and thank you to all of y'all. All right, thank you for this Vikram. Thank you for Will It Fly. For those of you who don't know, right now you can actually get a free resource if you go to smartpassiveincome.com/toolkit. What you'll see there is my toolkit. This is something that Team SPI put together for you. It's a free resource with an emergency podcast episode that me and my CFO put together about running a business in this environment, working from home resources, as well as some courses. Build Your Own Brand, 0 to 100 email challenge, in our beginner course, Smart from Scratch. This is an opportunity for many people, and hopefully you can see that. What might this make possible is a question I would recommend you ask yourself. And when it comes to Smart from Scratch, this is a course we normally offer for $249. And so far, we've essentially given away $250,000 worth of that course. And I'm so thankful for that. I'm so grateful that we on the team have that opportunity to give and do something like that. And Matt, my CFO, came to me yesterday. He's like, we've had about 1,000 people go through this, and for that likely just couldn't afford it right now or want to use this opportunity, and that's really great. So if you've gotten in there, awesome. If not, you still have an opportunity to. That'll be free until we're over this. What won't be free very soon here will be Will It Fly and Let Go, which are on Amazon right now on Kindle. I made those for free, but Amazon only lets you do it for up to 5 days every 90 days if you are in KDP Select. Team Flynn for the win. Francis Dutois, good to see you. By the way, wanted to use this opportunity to say thanks to you, Pat, that you changed my life 3 years ago. This is why I'm here. I live for those comments. Thank you so much. Thank you for Let It Go. Let Go, not Let It Go. Let It Go was by Elsa in Frozen. And that's okay. People get it confused all the time. Let it go, let it go. Just Samson says, hey, Pat, hey, Team Flynn, question. Do you know if it's possible to obtain an inactive Twitter handle? Has been inactive since 2013, thanks. It is, I believe, possible. I've seen it done before. I don't know the means by which you would do that, reaching out to Twitter support, but I would imagine that they might be inundated with a lot of inquiries and it might take some time, but I think it's possible. I did this with YouTube. YouTube.com/Pat Flynn was taken by somebody who had one video and one video only that was published 10 years ago. And this was 3 years ago, so 13 years ago, I guess. And I reached out to Twitter and thankfully they replied and they were like, sure, this person hasn't logged in for over 6 years and you can have the name. So very thankful for that. Very, very cool. Bert says, thanks for getting up and out, Pat. Love your stuff, bro. Love you too, Bert. Lisa says, been reading Let Go and Will It Fly. Thank you for that. You're welcome. Again, free on Amazon until Sunday. Brad says, you have become my favorite morning show and voice of calm. I'm here for you, Brad. Keep up the good work. I know you're going through some tough times right now, but again, this is very reminiscent of my 2008 experience, having gone through a layoff and a recession and just a lot of unknowns. And it wasn't until I just kind of finally transitioned from, whoa, this woe is me to, whoa, look at this opportunity. Right? I don't know if that's I just made that up. Woe is me, transition to, whoa, there's an opportunity. That's not very good. That's not very good. Also, that just, sometimes you come up with bad ideas. And this is for everybody, right? So sometimes you'll say things and it's not going to make sense. And I think this is really important because then you can get those things out of your brain. But that's how you come up with stuff, right? You have to like throw up on the table or on the Post-it notes until you find the stuff that's good. Not that you throw up and then look for what's good in that. But what I mean is that's an analogy that's used in Anne Lamont's Bird by Bird, which is a book that I was really inspired by when I first started writing my book, Will It Fly, back in 2015 or 2014, actually. You kind of have to throw up your first draft. And sometimes when you're coming up with anything from the name of your podcast to what your business is going to be about, sometimes just talking about it out loud gets it out of the head, because your head does a great job of coming up with ideas, but not a great way of organizing them and not a great way of filtering them. However, when you hear something, then you can then you can deal with it. When you write it down on something like a Post-it note, then you can deal with it. This is by far my favorite tool in the world to use, other than my calendar on my phone. Post-it notes, all right? Post-it notes. I even have some here too. That's my brainstorming thing. Kind of a weird lesson, but thank you, Brad. Let's see. Francis says, what I enjoy most about these daily live streams, one, makes me happy. 2, makes me feel part of the community. I can read, I promise. Number 3, great questions from the community. 4, valuable information. 5, daily inspiration. And that's why I do this. Thank you. I appreciate that. Bahama Llama Coral is a great name. Shout out to you. Thank you so much. What's up, Jackie? Great to see you. It's going to be a great day. That's right. That's how we're going to start every day, no matter what happens. All right, let's keep going here. Chris Murphy in the house. Dude, Chris, good to see you, my friend. Hope all is well. It's been a while. Still rocking that same avatar. You looking this way, looking fly. I love it, man. I miss you, bro. Thanks. Pat, what type of coffee do you drink typically? So my favorite coffee is, unless I'm in Australia, by far the best coffee, flat whites all day. They care about their coffee. I actually asked somebody at a coffee shop in Australia, why is your coffee so good? And he said, are you from America? And I said, yes. And he said, well, I'm sorry to tell you, but Americans don't really care about their coffee like we do. It's an art here. And I was like, whoa, okay. But yeah, I could taste the difference for sure. Melbourne, Australia, Brisbane, wherever you're at in Australia, I'm so sad also because I was supposed to be going to Australia next week to go to a wedding and to have some coffee. Like literally the two reasons why I was going to go to Australia, but not going. So my favorite coffee in San Diego is Mostra Coffee. Mostra. And this is a Filipino family-owned establishment, and very, very, very thankful to be a part of this community in San Diego too. Filipino myself, half Filipino. If you can tell me what my other half is, I will give you some bonus points. Not doing any giveaways here today, but I will give you some bonus points. So I'm half Filipino. What's my other half? If you can guess, if you know, I might have shared this on the podcast before, but I'll just give you some brownie points. But Mostra Coffee, I just buy it by the truckful. Casanova says, good morning. Which program are you using to live stream? I'm using Ecamm Live. So here's the setup. I have a lot of people ask. I'm actually going to be creating a blog post or some video, essentially, of the setup because I get asked every day because I think this looks okay. And a lot of this stuff came from the WeWork studio. I brought it home because we're going to be at home for a while. So here's the setup. My DSLR camera, it's a Canon EOS R. That's getting fed into a Blackmagic web presenter. That box, that Blackmagic box, has the ability for me to use the DSLR camera as a webcam. I can literally select it in Ecamm Live here as a webcam. That's plugged into my computer, obviously. For audio, I have the Rodecaster Pro here. The Rodecaster Pro, one of my favorite tools. And that's capturing audio from a boom arm with this shotgun microphone from Rode, an NTG microphone. As far as lights, I have an aperture light. Can't remember, MK 1200 Mark II with a mini dome, and then I have this thing here, which is called an ice light on this side. And I love this thing. I've had this thing for years, and I haven't really used it until now. And then it's on a switch pod, which is really cool. Now, this ice light is providing some nice wash on the right-hand side. In my YouTube videos that I publish that are not live, you'll probably notice that it looks more like this. A little bit more dramatic, right? But I don't want these live streams to be dramatic. I want them to be sort of friendly and sort of, nice. And so, ooh, that's bright. And so I'm using the fill on the other side there and having a lot of fun with it. And then I am using this thing called a Stream Deck, which is this thing with buttons on it that I can use to switch from that view to my iPad. Are we doing anything on the iPad right now? We could play some games if you want. Trivial Pursuit. Who wants to play Trivial Pursuit? Actually, I don't want to do that because there's a delay and I'm terrible at that game. I am not good at answering questions. Top of the morning to you. Goody. Good to see you. All right. Hey, random question. Have you planned to develop into other countries, like translate your content and so on? Russian-speaking people, for example, desperately need a person like you. I've been asked this so many times. Thank you for asking, by the way. And I wish I knew all languages because I would want to help the whole world in this way. I have been approached by a number of people in the Spanish-speaking market to translate content in other markets as well. French, Italian, German. I'm big in Germany for some reason on my Google Analytics. I don't know the approach. I honestly wouldn't know the approach to do this in the best way. If you all have any advice on where I can get started with that, that'd be great. Corey says, I just committed to 100 videos with 13 already in the can. Would an 87 videos in 87 days challenge be something to consider starting today? Wow. What a way to kickstart things, Corey. I think that is amazing. What you could do with that is provide a lot of regularity and something for people to look forward to every day, similar to these live streams. I think that there is definitely, a daily thing for that long. Typically, daily challenges can go 7, 30, but a 90-day daily challenge like that would be very, very challenging for sure. And if you have a team to help you edit your videos and they're on board too, well, that's great. I would potentially consider something that would allow you to either Oh gosh, it's a good idea and it's also not a good idea, because my worry with big time challenges like this is, well, I mean, if you're using YouTube, then you have the benefit of, sparking the algorithm and building a community there, regularity, which is great. But the moment you get behind, the moment quality starts to sort of fall behind too. And so providing potentially 5 days a week, not the weekends, 5 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then maybe going live every weekend, just to kind of provide a little bit of a buffer, could be a nice happy medium. Not saying that I don't think you can do it. I just know that, and a lot of us know people who have gone daily, and it could be great. It could be fantastic. Obviously, a lot of great content. And you're planting all these seeds, especially on YouTube, for the algorithm to pick it up, whether now or even a year from now or more. But at the same time, like, I just don't want you to burn out. I don't want you to burn out. That's all. Grandma Goodies Bible Stories. Hey, good to see you here. Movie recommendation: watch Prince of Egypt with your kids. Love that movie. Passover is coming up and it deals with overcoming frightful events. That's a great recommendation. Thank you, Grandma. Zenya and Vlada says, listening to Chill Hop while on this stream feels really like chilling live with friends. I mean, I could add some Chill Hop. I don't want to mess up your audio having two Chill Hops next to each other, but we could do that too if you want. But I've heard comments that the music is a little distracting, so you can add your own Chill Hop. Steve says, question, Pat, I'm making an online course and have ideas from my mentors I'd like to include in the course. And so, 1, do I mention them in the course? And 2, do I let them know before I release it? So the question here being, you're creating a course, you're going to be mentioning and talking about other people's ideas. Number 1, that's typically okay. Number 2, it could be just a great thing to do, just not because you need permission, but because you want to credit them. And I think always giving credit to where credit is due is very, very important. And so and also, like, everybody's ideas come from everybody else, right? Like, most things that are new are not actually new. And so there's always somebody else in the past. And if you can offer that credit, I think that's really great. And I think it's very, very noble of you to make sure that everybody's cool. You're not creating entire courses around their stuff. You're just mentioning them in the course. And so I think, number 1, crediting them. Number 2, thanking them. And number 3, you might not know what great things can happen when you mention it and they see that they're featured in it. I know I'm in a lot of courses, for example, when people start talking about podcasting, if they have programs, for example, a great way to thank them would be if, linking to their website or program within your course. That's a very common thing to do. And a lot of people have linked to Power Up Podcasting, for example, in their own courses. So yeah, I think reaching out and letting them know that you've helped inspire something would be great. Would be a great idea. Let's see. That's a real stack of Post-it notes. That's right. Let's see. Devin says, offering a VP of sales at a large company in our industry 10% equity in the company for him and his sweat equity. He's already interested. This is the offer: 10% on a cliff over 2 years, option to buy back shares if he leaves or has to be terminated. He's willing to bring $10K in capital that I want to structure as a loan rather than selling equity in a pre-launch startup. And looking for the rest of the question. Doesn't sound like there's a question, but just want to say, Devin, like, good luck. It sounds like you got things under control. Make sure that if you're going to do anything like that, you have all the things, all the scenarios mentioned in the contracts that you're going to be signing, and he's going to be signing or she's going to be signing, so that just all scenarios are sort of taken care of. I think that's really important. There's an interview I did with a guy named Daryl Vesterfelt, who I would recommend. What's up, Brittany? Good to see you here on YouTube. Great. That's awesome. So Brittany is a student of mine. Check her out. She's doing a lot of PR stuff and is a pro at it. She's helping a lot of clients, especially ones that are, making good use of and are very important in this distressed time. So thank you so much for being here, Brittany. I lost that comment from Devin. I apologize. Let's see. Where did you go? Anyway, it just sounds like you're good. Just make sure that all the contracts that you're focused on are great. It's called Living Life Al Dente, Pat. Throw stuff on the wall and see what sticks. I like that. What up, Tim? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. AeroPress for the win. Yes, that's the way that I make my coffee every morning. I grind them fresh, though. Brittany, do you grind them fresh right before you go on the AeroPress, or do you have them already grinded before that? Let's see. Wow, didn't know you were half Filipino. Yep, I am. How did you get a Facebook group going? How did you get people to join and get the ball rolling? So, Chris, Facebook group, you just start one, number one. And number two, talk about it, mention it on your other platforms. Always provide opportunity to join. At the bottom of your email signature, add a little PS. Did you know I have this group? Come join me. Click here. And also make it public if you'd like, but you can have people have to click to join versus having it be freely accessible. So closed group could work. And just mentioning it and having people on the inside share it and giving people a reason to share it. I think providing incentive for being communicative, being active in there can be really key. And you just get the ball rolling. That's what I would recommend. So to answer the question about my ethnicity, so half Filipino, quarter Irish. Saw some of you mention Irish. An eighth Russian, and an eighth Polish. So all things. Mutt, basically. Great guesses, by the way. I think Flynn, obviously gave it away. Patrick Flynn, like I'm the least Irish-looking Irish person that you'll ever meet. Funny story, I was connected with somebody online who was a listener of my podcast, and he wanted to meet me at a Starbucks. And he had a platform of his own, too. We wanted to chat and sort of swap ideas. So we set a time and a date to meet at a Starbucks. And he was an avid listener of the show. So I go to the Starbucks at the time that we were supposed to meet, and he stood me up. Like, I was there for 45 minutes waiting and never showed up. And I was pretty bummed about that because I was like, hey, this is like high school again. But anyway, I went to go order a coffee because I was going to wait for him to order a coffee with him. And I think I ordered like an Americano or something. And as I was ordering, this guy who was in Starbucks, like literally there the whole time that I was, who was sitting on the other side of the room, gets up and goes, "Are you Pat Flynn?" And I said, "Yes." He's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I've been here the whole time. I saw you, but I didn't think you'd be Pat Flynn. I thought Pat Flynn would be like this pale-skinned ginger guy, and you're kind of darker and shorter." And yeah. So anyway, we had a laugh about that, and we spent a couple hours chatting. But that was a fun moment of my life, that my voice was recognized and not my face. That's the power of podcasting, people. That's the power of podcasting. Half Hobbit. Yeah, perhaps. Not Hawaiian, though. A lot of people think I'm Hawaiian. But anyway, Jen Lynn says, "Pat, can't believe you're online live and there's not thousands of people on. Just shows there must be a lot to choose from right now. Thanks for doing this. One of the first podcast follow." Thank you, Jen. I appreciate you. I would love to get to thousands of people, but whether it's 1,000 or just 1 or 100,000, I'm here to show up every single day. And, I think it's just, going live at a specific time. It's very similar to a webinar, right? A person will register, but they won't show up. Typically 20-25% show up rates on webinars is pretty normal. And, there's just, hopefully starting the sequence every day is going to allow for more people to see it being more regular and just come on and want to be a part of it. I know a lot of you might be just listening passively right now. If you are, tell me what else you're doing. Are you doing chores? Are you just hanging out, trying to get work done? If so, what are you doing here? Let me know what you're doing in addition to watching and or listening to this right now. All right, Gizzy. That's what we call our dog because his name's Gizmo. Hashtag Gizzy credit. I have a Mac, just started going live 1 time a week since December 26th, but I don't live stream. What software do you recommend going streaming or online to stream like Ecom? I'm using Ecamm Live, and I love it. It's great. You don't need the fancy setup like mine. It does a lot of the work for you, which is really fantastic. I think the best thing I would recommend if you're going to go live or do any video is have some really good lighting, or at least plant yourself in front of a window so you can get that nice front-facing wash on your face from the natural light. And you can't control that as much as you can control like a dark room with lights here, like I have, but it's good enough. And then audio is really, really important as well. Be happy that there aren't so many people. I was on another stream with so many people, so chaotic. Yeah, so thank you for being here and for taking advantage. Again, every single day, put it in your calendar, 8 a.m. YouTube every day, even on the weekends, 8 a.m. Pacific, that is. Very valuable. Thanks, bro. What's up, Casanova? Thanks for being here. Jeff says, "Thanks, Pat. Appreciate the gear breakdown. My pleasure. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you, too." Pallavi says, "Good morning, Pat. You are the best. Thank you for doing this for us. I'm here for you. And whatever I can do to answer questions, let me know." So pop them in. There's less questions today that I'm seeing, although I am a little bit behind. Greg says, "So when you do YouTube videos, you really only use the aperture light on that one angle." That's exactly right. That's something that's sort of a trend in the sort of YouTube space. You'll see it from people like Peter McKinnon and a number of others who want a little bit more cinematic look. And I think it just, I don't know, what it does getting that one light angle versus having the wash on the other side is if I turn this off, for example, you'll notice that it adds a lot of shadow on this side. It makes your face pop a little bit more, and it adds like a nice dark sort of rounded outline on this side because the light's over here, right? So the shadow's down here, and it makes your face pop out more from the background, as you can see here. But for the live streams, I don't want it to be quite as cinematic, so I put this lightsaber light on next to me. What service do you recommend to run a webinar, preferably free or low cost? I mean, honestly, if you wanted to go free, like do it within a Facebook group. I think that would be a great strategy. You can go live within Facebook. You can use ConvertKit or some email service provider to get people registered on a landing page, and then send out the emails prior to that, and then just send the group link to Facebook for free. And I think that would be an amazing way to do it for free. However, you obviously lose a lot of the tools, a lot of the automation. I'm using a tool called Demio right now. If you go to smartpassiveincome.com/Demio, asterisk, that's an affiliate link, DEMIO, then you're gonna see the sort of power behind more professional tools. That's a tool I use. There's chat involved. There's a lot of interaction. I can put a button. I can have people do polls. A lot of cool things with Demio, and I've been using that for my marketing and sort of training webinars, and it's been working out really, really well. Let's see. I use an original Canon 6D, which requires manual focus. Might upgrade to an R1 day. DPAF might be a thing. Yeah, I think a Canon 6D would work. Just make sure that you have some way to test, maybe putting a test subject where you're going to sit and not make sure that you move around so much, so that you can just have the manual focus exactly where it needs to be. And then you can just keep it in that position. I'm sure it would look beautiful, actually, if you did it that way. Jenlyn says, hey, Pat, can you tell how you feel about the blockchain and where specifically smart contract? Believe it will be eventually take over the internet and financial institution. Have you been researching? You know, I have some Bitcoin back a couple years ago when it was hot, and right now it's been a lot more steady than it was back then. And I mean, wasn't it at like tens of thousands of dollars per Bitcoin at one point? I got into Litecoin and Ethereum a little bit, and I'm not really focused on that right now. I'm focused on things that I can control. I can't control the sort of markets right now, but I can control putting myself out there. I can control the assets that I build in my business, and helping and serving others too. Trevor says, I went through Let Go at the end of 2009, 17 years after the same company, Lemons into Lemonade. I started my own web dev biz in 2010 and haven't looked back. Awesome, Trevor. Great job to you. And keep up the great work there. Thank you for sharing the story, because I think a lot of people need that kind of inspiration right now. What's up, Eric? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Good morning, Jeanette. How do you pull up a question like that? Cool. So the way that I do this is actually in Ecamm Live. I have all the comments from YouTube fed into here, and there's a button underneath each comment that says add to broadcast, and it just pops it up. Make sure that if you're going to use Ecamm for that you go into the preferences before you go live and put that the comment will fade out after a few seconds, so after 15 seconds. If you don't do that, then you'll have to manually close them, and it can be pretty tricky to do that. Let's see. Thanks for all the work, Pat. Says, Alan, would you recommend Azul Terrones 101 book coaching for someone who has completed a first draft? 100,000%. He was my book coach on Will It Fly. He is all in on helping books. Him and his partner, Steve, are just a fantastic duo. I just spoke at a live event that they did, a small little workshop a number of weeks back before all this craziness happened. And he's fantastic. He's the best coach I've seen in the book space for sure. Azul Terrones, look him up, Authors Who Lead. Have partners who duplicate your content in their own style for their local language communities. Yeah, that would be great. I would imagine that would be the way to do it, obviously, but it's a lot easier said than done. How would I know that they are doing it the right way? If I don't know. I wouldn't even know where to go and find and vet people like that, and how to make sure it's a win for them too. Dave Ramsey has Spanish-speaking celebrities. So do they say like the legit like same things, but just like do they act as like one-to-one translators, or are they just a personal brand, for example, under the Dave Ramsey brand that sort of, speaks the same sort of, teaching, but in their own way? Do people gift you the t-shirts you wear on your videos? I've had a lot of people, what's up, the lady writes, no worries. You're always welcome to come in at any time that's convenient for you. A lot of people have been asking me about my t-shirts. So I'm sort of a t-shirt with phrases sort of nerd. A lot of companies I work with, like Teachable and ConvertKit, have their own sort of inspirational phrases, but I like geek tees and other things like that too. This piece of dust flying around. But this one is, of course, Mr. Bob Ross. No mistakes, just happy accidents. Yeah, I don't know. No mistakes, just happy accidents. That's actually something we teach our kids all the time. That was a happy accident. And then, you know, taking the brush and going on the legs of the. If you don't know what I am talking about, then you're probably like, this is the weirdest live stream ever. But yeah, Bob Ross. I watched a really good YouTube video the other day about Bob Ross and where all the paintings are. If you look up, if you just want some kind of fun thing to watch today, look up on YouTube, Bob Ross, where did all the paintings go? And there's like a little like office space with all the Bob Ross paintings, and they're popping. It's just a really interesting thing. So that's all I'm going to say. But yeah, I get these shirts from like Geek Tees and Teespring and just nerd geek websites that have t-shirts. I have a lot of Back to the Future t-shirts as well. But you know, I have one. The other one that I was going to wear today was it says, "I know guacamole is extra," because when you go to Chipotle, they always ask you, and it's so annoying. Anyway, Food Mania. Hey, Pat, thanks for all the value about starting a podcast. It was at a conference in ATL where Anthony Centeno dropped you and talked to you. It was awesome. You guys are connected. Antonio, Real Men, Real Style, big shout out. He helped me quite a bit. Quick story about Antonio. Again, his website, Real Men, Real Style. So in 2010, I got an email from him. I didn't know who he was. And he said, Pat, I help men with fashion. I see that you've been starting to speak on stage. I had just started speaking on stage. And he said, I wanted to give back to you for all that you gave to me. Apparently, he had downloaded my book, eBooks the Smart Way, which is a download that helps people write ebooks, because an ebook is what helped me get started online in the architecture space. And he said, I downloaded that book. I wrote my own ebook. I gave it away for free. And it helped me collect over 150,000 emails. And I was blown away. I was like, whoa, this is the most incredible thing ever, because I had no idea who this person was and that he had used my stuff. Anyway, he said, I want to give back to you. So he filmed a 23-minute video about how I personally could understand fashion for the purpose of being an authoritative figure on stage. And it was about specifically my height and my skin tone and all the different kinds of clothing that would look best on a person that was of my stature. And it was so helpful. It was so valuable. And this is what I'm talking about when it comes to, you know, helping people out and offering service and not asking for anything in return. Because ever since then, I've just been a huge fan of his and have sent so many people his way. But that was so helpful because that helped me understand that fashion was important, especially when you're an authority figure, you're on stage, you want to have a great first impression, you're saying things with what you wear and how you present yourself before you even speak a word. And I've been just kind of a nut related to that stuff lately because, or just since then because of his help. So big thank you to Antonio from Real Men, Real Style for that. Thanks for the reminder about him. Let's see. Northern Rescue on Netflix. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate that. All right. Ardna says, hi, Pat. So happy you were making yourself available. I'm a student working on finding my niche, but my favorite has very low search volume. How much monthly search volume should I be looking for? So search volume is one of many factors that you should be looking out for. It's not a red flag, don't do this, if that's the case, that it's a low search volume. It just means, okay, well, people aren't going onto YouTube or Google and searching for those specific terms. I would, number one, consider, are there communities that exist out there already? That's a good thing if you find them, because that means there are communities that exist. It doesn't matter what they search for. What matters is, can you build then relationships in those communities? Can you perhaps build a relationship with the owners of those communities? And that could be your way in versus just going for search volume only. If you build a website for search volume only and there's not a lot of search, then number one, you might not realize that there's all these other opportunities out there. But number two, you're likely just going to be writing articles that aren't going to be read right away, and because you're relying on something else. So this could force you to look for other creative means to find search volume or to find volume outside of search. However, the other part of this is, well, you may not be searching for the right things. So what other terms, what other ways are people actually looking for information about that particular topic? Check out websites like answerthepublic.com, because that's going to allow you to see what questions people are asking in and around that topic. And that might be a better starting point for you too. Also, check out YouTube, check out podcasts for other leaders in that community to see how they're bringing those kinds of people together. The other thing I would say is make sure you go to smartpassiveincome.com/toolkit. This is for everybody. This is a free resource that my team and I put together this past week. And when you go there, you're going to find this here, which is a number of different resources, tools. Also, my books, Let Go and Will It Fly, are currently available for free on Amazon Kindle. They are ranking #1 now in entrepreneurship and startups and all that stuff, thanks to you, which is really cool. Actually, if I go here, for example. So again, just the Kindle versions. If I go down here, you'll notice that we are currently at number 363 of all free Kindle books. #1 in investing, social media, computers, technology, and that's thanks to you. So thank you for that, because that's giving me even more reach, and that's not the purpose of this. I like to do business and do promotion where it's a win for everybody. So I'm giving it away for you for free during this time. You're giving me more visibility on Amazon. It's kind of a win for everybody, which is really cool. Let's see, what are you using to stream right now? Software, hardware. I would like to do something similar for teaching rap skills. So I'm using Ecamm Live to stream, and I'm using a whole setup here that I'm going to be doing a video about later, because a lot of people are asking. But you don't need some crazy stuff. You can just use your phone to go live. I mean, why not? You know what else I've been doing a lot of? Going live. Or so not going live, going on VR. VR is really fun, and this is an Oculus Quest, and I've been checking it out for not just like games and stuff, but for educational stuff. The applications here are really amazing. So honestly, this isn't even on, and I can't see right now, so I'm going to take that off. But have been having a lot of fun experimenting with that and having more time to do that, and it's just so incredible, the technology. Let's see. Sup, man? Mark here, back in the UK. Our golf deferred after crazy quick flight back. Beard coming on strong. Thank you. Yeah, it's coming in strong. I'm past the. I am past the itchy stage, thankfully. Let's see. Josh says, starting a podcast for a future business. Worried about episode duration at the start. Is there a target duration? Yeah, the preferred length of a podcast episode should be as long as it needs to be for you to do what you want it to do, for you to offer the transformation that you want to transfer. There are podcasts that are very, very popular that are 5 minutes in length or less. There are podcasts on the other end of the spectrum that are 3 hours and more. So really, it's up to you. I wouldn't try to stick with one particular, like it has to be 30 minutes every single time. And the reason for that is, imagine you doing an interview and you're 29 minutes in and you haven't even like dug deep into the questions yet. Are you going to go, hey, sorry, we're at the half hour mark, I'm done? There are no rules in podcasting other than don't copy other people, don't use music that's licensed or other people's IP. But when it comes to show duration, you can make it whatever you want. I would recommend, instead of trying to go for a specific time period, and again, on the other side of that coin, by the way, is if you go 15 minutes, you've said everything you needed to say, you've transformed everybody's lives. Are you going to keep it for another 15 minutes just because you want to add fluff in there to get to 30 minutes? No, that's doing your audience a disservice on both sides. On both sides, that's the case. So what I would recommend is have a range. Okay, you're going to be going 30 to 45 minutes every single episode. And again, it's totally okay. You're not hurting anybody if you go outside of that. I have some episodes that are 1.5 hours, even though most of mine are between 45 minutes and an hour in length. And that's totally okay. I think that just shows that you are doing what you can to provide the service that you want to provide with your show. Are you considering a virtual FlynnCon, and how do you think this crisis will change consumer behavior in the coming years? Thanks again, Pat. These live streams are keeping me sane here in the UK. I'm here for you. Alex, by the way, make sure you follow her. She is actually, funny thing, I didn't know she was in here. She's all about AR and VR, and she's already provided me some cool tips offline related to that. Anyway, FlynnCon will not be virtual. There might be a different kind of virtual event, but my goal with FlynnCon cannot be done virtually. FlynnCon is, for those of you who were there last year, or even if you don't know, is a community event there's content, obviously, but it's about the community. It's about getting direct access to Teachable, ConvertKit, other providers that can literally answer your questions. You open up your laptop, you can get that help right then and there for you. It's about connecting with other people. It's about getting in the hallways and talking about the keynote that just happened, to sort of unpack that and to discuss with people. This is why there were hour-and-a-half long breaks in between talks, because that's what it's about. And doing it virtually is just not going to work. So there may be a different kind of event. But I do feel like there's going to be a new norm after this. I also think that there's going to be some great opportunities and better things after this too. So it's going to be really interesting. I can't necessarily predict what's going to happen. Excuse me. Yes, I know I'm rubbing my eye, which I shouldn't do, but I haven't seen anybody in days anyway, so I think I'm going to be okay. Yeah, so it's going to be different. I think it'll be interesting. I think it's those who are going to understand where people are going to go, or how people are going to consume, that are going to win on the other side of this for sure. Stefan says, hey, Pat, I'm starting a podcast which covers a few subjects, 4 to 5 hobbies. After some research, I recommend starting a niche podcast, but I'm still drawn to a multi-subject one. What do you suggest? I suggest starting with 1 or 2 to start that are related, and then branching out from there. Quick story, there was a guy, he created a bug spray, a universal bug spray, and he put it in a can and called it Universal Bug Spray, or whatever, kill all or whatever. And it didn't sell so well, even though it killed all bugs. But instead, what he ended up doing was he took that same formula. Again, it killed all the bugs that you'd want to kill. And he put it one in a can that said ant killer, another one that said spider killer, another one that said cockroach killer. And then they sold off the shelves like crazy, because here's why. People who have an ant problem want the thing that's going to kill the ants. People who have a roach problem want the thing that kills the roaches. And they know that it's going to be better at doing that if they think that, well, this was built specifically just for that versus the more general one, right? If you are a marathon runner and you are serious about running a marathon for the first time, when you get your shoes, are you going to go to Shoe Pavilion where they also have casual shoes, high heel shoes, Crocs, all those other things? Or might you rather get your advice and get help from people who understand running, like at the Roadrunner shoe store here in San Diego? So all that to say, people are attracted to the niche that they're in more than anything. And you can start small and grow outward from there. So maybe you start with one, you attract people, and then you go to the next space after that. So this is starting and serving people vertically, 1 inch wide, 1 mile deep, versus going 1 mile wide, 1 inch deep. And when you go 1 inch wide, when you go 1 mile wide, 1 inch deep, you can only get so helpful with each of those things versus really going deep with that one. So David says, hi, Pat. I'm a videographer, online creative like Caleb. Was curious how you first became his video client and eventually business partners. What were you looking for in a video partner as CEO? Literally, I just hired him initially to help me edit some videos. It was a presentation I did in 2014 at New Media Expo in Las Vegas. And I asked him for help because somebody once recommended him as a video editor. I needed some help. I didn't have time to do it myself. And then ever since then, we started to do a few more video projects here and there together. And then we just started working together. He lived in San Diego. I lived in San Diego. We saw each other more. We went on a couple of dates. Then I took him out for a romantic stroll on the beach. And then we were friends ever since. We didn't actually do those final things, but that's kind of how it worked, right? We dated. Then we went steady. And now we're married to our beautiful wives. But we work together as partners too. To go back to Devin's question, sorry it was cut off. I just wanted to know what you thought of that structure. He's amazing at his job, has a ton of connections. You think 10% is a good number or too much, too little? I don't know, Devin, because I don't know necessarily what he's going to provide. I think 10% is a good start for sure. I mean, that's a lot more than what I am offered as advisor to companies, which is 1%, typically 1% or less. And that's normal in the advisorship realm versus sort of a more partner sort of situation. But yeah, I think that could work as long as you both work it out, and it could be a good starting number, and you could see, I would imagine. So here's what I would do, Devin. In situations like this where you're like, I'm not sure if this is the right choice, come up with a couple options in your head, and then choose one again in your head, and fast forward a year from now, and come up with different scenarios and see how does that decision now play and come into effect later, right? So what I'm talking about is, let's say you go 10%, and then the company gets sold. Is he going to be happy with the work that he's going to be doing? Are you going to feel like that's too much? Is that going to be too little? Maybe the company sort of, maybe things don't work out, which is always a scenario. How might that 10% play a role there when you buy out that other person, or if they buy you out, for example. Daniel says, podcasting using Anchor, yes or no? I watched your video about what software to use to upload podcasts, and you didn't mention it. I don't mention Anchor, and I don't prefer Anchor because it is a completely 100% free platform right now. And the reason I don't like 100% free, because we've seen 100% free before get messed up. Facebook, Instagram, SoundCloud, those were all free, and then they got messed up. And what I mean by messed up is you lose that control because they need to make money for their investors at some point. So they're going to insert ads, they're going to change things, they're going to have pay to play at some point, and it's very difficult to sort of have the control you would have if you owned, as if you owned your own stuff, like on Buzzsprout. And honestly, podcast hosting is so cheap today still that it is worth doing, because here's the biggest reason why I don't like Anchor for podcasting. Podcasting takes commitment. And if you don't have any skin in the game, it's going to be very simple for you to get out. However, if you pay $15 a month, like you would with an email list that you actually use, then you're going to be more likely to actually do the thing. So having skin in the game and just a little bit of it can go a very, very long way. So that's why I would recommend Buzzsprout or Libsyn over Anchor. And I had heard once before that I don't know the exact numbers, but I think it's only 7 to 8% of the podcasts that are on Anchor are actually regular. The others started and stopped. Guess why? Because it's free. Oh, I'll try it. Okay, no, it's not worth doing anymore. Versus somebody who's going to be investing in their future in the podcasting space, who actually has some skin in the game, who's actually going to put the work, into doing it. And do you think structuring the 10K as a loan to the company rather than selling him is a better idea? See, that's where it gets fishy, Devin. I'm not exactly sure, because equity in a company makes people feel like they own it and like they have a part of it. And when you feel like you have a part of something, you are more dedicated to it. You are more likely to care for it more versus a loan. That's a tough one, Devin. I would talk to more people about that for sure. I may not be the best person to talk about in that way. Number one. Really quick, if you can give me a thumbs up if you're enjoying what you're seeing here, that'd be really amazing. We are already 13 minutes from the hour. But guess what? It's the weekend. I don't have meetings. I'm feeling very excited. I want to be here to serve you. I haven't even gotten through a lot of the questions that are here because a lot of you are interacting with me, which is great. And hopefully you're helping to answer each other's questions too. So I'm going to extend and add on another 30 minutes here. The kids were asleep. April was asleep, so we should be good. I'm going to add on another 30 minutes to this live stream to help and be here. And I'm just having a lot of fun. Hopefully you can hear and feel the energy. Thank you for giving me that energy. I appreciate you so much. This is my favorite sound effect, by the way. It's called Anime Wow. Question, Pat, just started a travel podcast with 3 episodes but with the world situation, should I hold off on the podcast or pivot? So first of all, let me ask the room. Do you think now is a good time to start a podcast and actually publish it versus sort of waiting until later? So I'm going to give you a couple seconds to answer that question. Okay, yes, it is definitely a good idea. Why? Everybody's at home consuming content, extra time. If you could be a voice that people can lean on, a person that people can hear and understand and connect with, I mean, this is the perfect time to launch. Absolutely. So I would highly recommend publishing it now. This is the opportune time to do that. I am recommending people lean into their content creation right now. And so this is a great time to do it. I would recommend it. Wasn't the question to guess what your wife's ethnicity was? Sorry, I was making coffee. No, it was my ethnicity. Corey says, not that it has anything to do with anything, but do you sometimes just keep screwing up the beginning? Start over, repeat several times, and then once underway, you're all good to go? Yeah, 1,000,000,000%. That's exactly what happens. So what I would recommend, Corey, actually, we could probably go and watch this video right now. Let me check. Let me see if this is here. youtube.com/PatFlynn. So I want to share a video with you really quick. Oh, I'm live right now. Look at that. Hey. Okay. So I want to go to, where am I going here? Oh, videos. So this is what it's like for me to record videos. Where is it? Oh, wow. I've done a lot of videos in the last month. So I don't know if that is, I don't think that could be heard right now, which is okay. Is this, muted? I don't know why it's not coming through. Okay, never mind. Anyway, that didn't work like I wanted it to. I apologize. Let's go back here. Okay, so what I was going to show you was how I edit these videos. So let's say, for example, I have a script, and here's part of a script of an upcoming video that I have. I hit record, boop, and this is how it goes. Elon Musk, founder of X.com, which later became PayPal, and then Elon Musk, founder of X.com, Elon Musk, founder of X.com, which later became PayPal, also SpaceX, Tesla, The Boring Company, and probably several more companies after this video gets published, is a master at building businesses, big businesses, disruptive businesses. And today we're going to use the brain of Elon Musk to start our own businesses too. So stick around. So today we're going to use Elon Musk to start our own businesses. Let's do it. So that's kind of my sequence for how I film. So I just did the intro. It was recording the whole time. So when I edit, I just take out those middle parts. I just keep the best takes of each. And it's super weird, right? It's super weird to watch somebody do that, but that's exactly how it is done. Thank you, Julian. Appreciate that. Thank you for being a great communicator. Guess what? It didn't start out like that. Not at all. The way that it started was just podcasting. Actually, podcasting helped me become a better communicator. Let's see. I lost a bunch of questions. I'm scrolling up to where we were. Okay, cool. Pat, thanks for the pointer to the Bob Ross story. Awesome. You're welcome, Paul. Let's see. Alex says, yes, with the Quest, have you perfected any levels on Beat Saber yet? I find Tilt Brush in VR is basically a meditative practice. I love Tilt Brush. There's some other drawing games that have come out lately. Beat Saber is super fun. I have been getting into Rec Room a little bit to communicate with other people too. That's been really fun. Just playing the games mostly. Mostly just a bunch of young kids on there though. Should educational YouTubers work with ads on Facebook and YouTube? Maybe blog posts. I think ads are best spent when you know that there's an ROI on the other end, meaning that you know that a certain number of people, a certain percentage who watch a video are going to then subscribe to an email list, and then a certain percentage of them can potentially get into a program or download something. And I think that that's exactly when you want to spend money, is when you know that there's a calculated way to know if you're actually getting that money back. Spending money just to get more traffic without really kind of doing it or knowing it or blindly finding out if you're making money back is difficult, and you can lose a lot of money really fast for sure. Let's see. Mama Melly says, hi, Pat, I just clicked because you have a beard. No way. That's the first time anybody ever said that. I like this rugged look on you, just passing through because I got some things to accomplish today, but I follow you and we'll catch up to you later. Thank you. Hey, maybe it was because it was different or because it looks good. I don't know. We'll see. But thank you so much for that. Thanks, Pat, for sharing comments about the show duration. You're welcome. Grandma Goody's Bible Story says, everyone will appreciate FlynnCon more after this safer at-home experience. Yes, thank you. Heather says, it's a weird time when we need to apologize for wiping our eyes, right? Could you share your morning routine? So I get up 7:15. So this is my quarantine routine. I noticed some on YouTube. There's like a meme going around, or not on YouTube, on Twitter. There was a meme going around about like everybody's quarantine routine, and it was like 11 a.m. get up, and then 11:15 like shower, 11:30 stare at my phone until 1 a.m. go to bed, and literally that was the schedule, which was kind of funny. I laughed at that. My quarantine schedule is this: I wake up at 7:15. I take a shower. I pour myself a pot of coffee, and then I go live here on YouTube at 8 a.m. And then at 9 a.m. I'm done typically. Then I go out, I make the kids breakfast, and then at 10 a.m. sometimes meeting starts or I get some work done. And then April's with the kids homeschooling them. And then lunch at 12:30, so I'm taking a break then. I get some work done until typically 3 p.m. And then I'm done, full 100% mentally available for the children. I offer some relief to April. She gets some of her alone time at that time. And then we come together for dinner. And then after the kids go down, we're either watching movies or I get a little bit more work done. And then I go to bed probably around 11 or 12. And then I get my 7 hours. Then we start over again. There we go. Thomas says, I use Podbean when I go to share my podcast on my iPhone. Apple Podcast provides a Podbean link instead of iTunes link. How can I fix this? So don't worry about the Podbean link. When you go to share it, you want to share it using a direct link to preferably a landing page where you have the ability to subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Google, Podcasts, all the different places. And that's what you share. A landing page where you can even add a little bit of copy to show people why they should, and to sell people into subscribing to your show from there. So that's what I would recommend, sort of a landing page situation. What platform would you recommend for live streaming to multiple platforms simultaneously? So there's a couple. There's Loola.tv, Loola.tv. I just subscribed to that recently because they actually can go from your desktop to Instagram. With Instagram, it's the only place I've seen that you could broadcast to Instagram sort of in that fashion. And you could use a setup like this to do that, which was really interesting. I did that the other day. And Restream.io, Restream.io. Bert says, hey, Pat, love your ability to rapid fire the info to us, balanced with conscious caring for your listeners. I appreciate that, Bert. Thank you. Fist bump to you, or elbow bump. Let's see. Sometime your accent is hard to catch up. I apologize for that. You could probably watch this on replay at half speed. I'm going fast here because I want to help as many people as I can. Let's see. It helps anyone out today. If it helps anyone out, today is National Fragrance Day. Fragrance Day. Good to know. Thank you, Corey. I appreciate that. Simplecast, cool. I like Anchor because it's easy to set up, edit audio. I'm nervous about learning something new. Glad you clarified that. Let's see. Scrolling down here. Is copywriting a good career, and how should one get started? Copywriting is super valuable. It's a very, very, very valuable space to be in, because if you can help people make more money with the words that you write, then you can get paid for sure. It is a very, very skilled practice that you will have to learn, and there are many places to learn. I would recommend checking out stuff from Ray Edwards. There is magnetic messaging. There is a woman named Prerna from Content Bistro, who's great too. You can learn from them and begin to start to practice that. Again, Content Bistro. Check that out. There's so many great copywriters out there that you could learn from. How did you decide what percentage to give a partner like a video editor? Well, a video editor I have on contract. So Caleb does my video editing specifically to, I pay him and his team monthly to edit my videos for YouTube and other things, my courses and whatnot. But he and I have a different partnership on the SwitchPod, which is a percentage because we are a partnership. And that's just going to be based on a case-by-case basis. I can't tell you what percentage it should be for any partners that you want to bring on board in case you can't sort of afford to pay them. You can bring them on as a partner to get them to work with you. And that's going to be up to you. And it depends on the work that they're going to do and responsibilities, roles, and just comfort level between the two partners. Spotify bought Anchor. Exposing podcast creation to their entire user base may lead to low quality content. What are your thoughts? I would imagine that is a worry for sure. Definitely. I think that I could see that happening, but there's unlimited amounts of space out there for content. So the low quality stuff, although it's going to be there, it's that's not going to rise to the top anyway, much like what we saw in blogging and podcasting. So this is Xenia saying, it's a little choppy. I found the computer was a little choppy for some reason. What's going on here? Why is it choppy? Nothing changed. Can you guys hear and see me okay? I'm just noticing a little bit of a delay. Apologize about that. Okay, well, I'm going to keep going anyway, and you guys just let me know. Let's see, Ellen. What's up, Ellen? Good to see you here. Hey, everyone. Valid point, reskin in the game. Pat, it works that with offering free services, too. Might be a nice gesture, and yet people who are feeling an investment are less likely to show up. Yes, so if you're offering something for free, this is why free webinars have a very low show-up rate and why paid webinars have a massively high show-up rate for sure. Cool, it looks like it's a little bit better now. Paul says, I help manage a travel blog. Seems like a bad time, but the journey always continues. This is just another challenge to help people solve. Frames dropping, but can hear you. Yes, can hear you fine. Dropping frames. All good. Okay. Thanks for that. Sorry about that. Let me see if maybe if I switch up. I don't know. Sorry about that. So yeah, the travel industry is getting hit pretty hard. I have a couple students who are in the travel space right now, and nobody's traveling, obviously. So we're looking at creative ways to help sort of provide solutions, solve problems, still bring communities together, and all that sort of great stuff. Let's see. Just started a thing on IG called Mythical Marketing, real marketing ideas for made-up companies. Here's your challenge. Create a trendy podcast name for a landscaper who specializes in backyards. Ooh, I like this game. So let's do this a little bit. Trendy podcast name for a landscaper who specializes in backyards. So backyard chat. So landscape architect. Landscape manscapers. Let's see. Naming stuff is really hard. It is one of the hardest things to do. It took me a few months to name my book, Will It Fly? Nick also has problems. Too many people live streaming. Yeah, it's Saturday morning. So let me know if it literally is unmanageable right now, and then we'll just end early. I don't want to keep you all here if it's not working, and maybe we could restart up again later. Maybe I can go live this afternoon. What about that? What if we went live instead at let's try maybe 1:30 p.m. Pacific? What if we did that? Let's see. Yeah, this naming thing's hard. I don't know. But if it's okay, we're going to keep going. No, it's perfect. Okay, just making sure. Because it's definitely slow on my end. Is there any value in raw footage unedited for podcasts? I know it's fun to watch on video. So the question being, okay, should you... raw footage unedited for podcasts. I know it's fun. So taking the video of a podcast and sort of popping it up. There is some value there, but I think that the other thing that you have to realize is that YouTube specifically is an interesting game when it comes to this long form content, right? Players like Joe Rogan and MKBHD who feed their podcasts in live, I think they're going to work really well for them because they have massive, large audiences already. They have celebrities on the show that can sort of keep people's attention for a long period of time. But unless there's value for watching, there's not. It could work against you, and it could just be a lot of extra work that's not necessary. Where I do see value in taking audio stuff and putting it onto YouTube is taking clips, taking segments, and putting them onto YouTube in a very searchable fashion that kind of can live on its own. Because a person might find you through search about a 5-10 minute thing that you mentioned on a much larger show, and then you can go, okay, if you want to listen to the rest of this episode, go and listen to here on Apple Podcasts or what the other places are. How long does it take to go through Power Up Podcasting? I've had people go through in a week and get their show up and running. I would not recommend doing it that quickly, though, because there's a lot of parts in the middle of the course related to marketing your show. And part of that is getting people ready for your launch, getting people excited, letting people know that the date's coming. You want to launch it like it's an event, so you don't want to rush it. However, there are people who've launched it within a week and are doing really well, and there's a lot of tactics in there that can help you even right at the start, too. Obviously, it takes some time for equipment to come in, and that's the only sort of delay. The only other thing that might cause a delay would be you getting your artwork created for your show. Your artwork for your podcast is really important because that's the first thing people see before they listen to any of your show. So just keep that in mind. That video was so good, really inspiring to see us all stumble through things. Yeah. Albert says, we just started Musical Friday to see if that helps our subscribers and listeners are the Seed Group podcast. Very cool. That's awesome. Wow, this is going really slow. Why is it going so slow? How much should I be paying a video editor to do my videos for me? What should I look for in a video editor? I would definitely look at their portfolio and try to understand exactly, what the end results are and how they're coming through. What I would recommend also is really understand what it is that you want. So if you have a specific style, if you have a specific sort of methodology, if you have a specific, you want somebody to fit into how you want to do your workflow, and also come up with something that looks and feels great. So looking at their portfolio to see sort of what the end results are would be a smart thing to do before you get in to see what their style is, because every video editor has a different style. And then in terms of payments, I would do, it's going to range, right? It's definitely going to range. Some do it by the hour, and it might take a few hours or even a day to edit. I mean, I can imagine anywhere between, $50 to $100 per video, and sometimes more for sure. And that's on the low end for sure, because it takes time, and video editing is definitely a skill that's worth paying for. All right, I'm going to scroll down and catch up to the chat here because I feel like I'm way behind. Let's see. Alex, appreciate you. Alex says, you're providing so much value for us daily. How can we help you? Just continue to show up, share this stream, and keep the chat lively. That's all I need from you. For those of you who, I've had a few people ask, how can we donate to anything as a thank you? Any super chats that come through, which are paid comments that come through, those get donated to the San Diego Food Bank, just so you know. I'm not asking for money. You don't have to pay. But should you want to actually offer something, that's kind of the one thing I'm saying. And then also just share and give me a thumbs up. Pong Pong says, what's your platform for live stream now? My live stream platform right now is Stream Deck. So by the way, I just skipped a whole bunch of questions and scrolled all the way down because I feel like I'm way behind right now. So I'm trying to play catch up here. So if you asked a question earlier, I didn't get it, you could ask it again. That's no problem. Do you have to have a mailing list in order to start a podcast? Not sure if we can get a PO box right now due to shelter in place order. So go to ConvertKit, smartpassiveincome.com/ConvertKit. You will need a mailing address of sorts in order to use those broadcasting systems, those email service providers. ConvertKit, however, lets you use their address, which is totally fine. And also PO boxes aren't the best either. UPS box is much better for addresses, but you also don't want to use your home address or something where people can, because that address is going to show up at the bottom of all your emails. So just keep that in mind, Ursula. So sign up with ConvertKit. When you are required to put in your address, there's a little button that says don't have an address. Click here, we'll supply you with one. Zenia says, Pat, is it okay to have a business where I can help people start and have an online business? I'm fighting with myself because I don't want to be competitor, wonderful people like you. Number one, sure, you're going to be serving the same kind of audience, but some people are going to want to prefer to learn from you because you have your own style. I have my own style. You have your own experience. I have my own experience. Where I would caution you, however, is if you're teaching people to do online business and you haven't successfully created an online business of your own yet, I don't know much about your backstory yet, so you may have done that already. I'll tell you, I was able to sort of shoot up in this space because I started by doing my own business first and then using my own case studies as an example for others. And it was my own case studies that helped me stand out. That's what won't make you a competitor, is if you have your own experiences to share and your own style, your own way of doing things and stepping up and being a voice. I mean, even if you were to share a very similar thing to other people, people are going to want to learn from you. You are 100% original. But having that case study, the successful business that you have had done first in this space is gonna make you a lot more credible. It's very similar to like when blogging started. A lot of people started to teach people blogging, yet they were just regurgitating stuff that other people said, and the only blog that they had was the blog about creating blogs. And so there was a lot of lost credibility during that time. Versus people like myself and a lot of other people who had real blogs in other spaces. It just adds a lot more credibility. Yo, Pat, great to see you, man. Gavin can't get us down. That's right. What's up, Professor Nez? Good to see you here. Hey, Pat, I have everything together and started recording my podcast. Let's see, the 318 Project. My plan is to launch it on April 9th. How do I promote it to get people excited about listening to it? Tell your network, tell your friends, let people know that it's coming out now. Tease the episode. Have little snippets of it come out. Start building that coming soon waitlist for people who want to get it maybe the day before it comes out. Have your guests share that you are going to be coming out with it soon. Just anywhere you could share it. Like if you were having a gig, like if you were a musician and you had a gig coming up on April 9th, what would you do to share it then? Would you like share it on social media, let people know you're gonna be playing at this concert, like sell tickets to it ahead of time, right? That's essentially what you want to do now. So let anybody and everybody know about it. And also potentially you could use opportunities to go, hey, like I'd love to feature people here on my upcoming show. Like tell me if you have a story, like any way that you could see that you have a show without even asking people to go and listen or subscribe can be a great way to just get people excited to know that it's coming up. Thomas says, hey, Pat, I'm planning to launch print-on-demand web shop, but the pandemic came and I decided to delay it. Any tips for me in advance? I think that although you might have some delays with relation to sort of the manufacturing and that sort of thing, why not continue to plan? Maybe this is the time to create your product line. This is the time to create a plan. This is the time to sort of build the landing page, the website, all these things that you can do now that you can control to build buzz for it. Maybe you have some designs that are going to come out later. You don't have the mechanisms to actually create them, but you actually have the mechanisms to show what they're going to be. You can have communities even started now. You can have people vote on their favorites so you can understand by the time we're out of this which ones you should be focused on first. Cool. Made it to the bottom. Shout out to ConvertKit. That's right. Lauren says, speak on using a soundboard for a podcast. What is best and user-friendly? What tech app to use? I use a Rodecaster Pro. It's literally plug and play. I'm using it right here. It's a little bit expensive, but it's very, very great. I also would recommend the Scarlett 2i2. It's not really a soundboard. It's just an interface that allows you to plug an XLR microphone and then plug into your computer from there. And then in terms of tech or app, honestly, if it's plug and play, and then in terms of recording, GarageBand or Audacity or Adobe Audition will work for you. Yeah, it's not very difficult actually. It's not as difficult as you make. Is there cheaper alternatives to the Blackmagic you would recommend? Oh, there is. Yeah, because the Blackmagic's like $500. Let me see. Amazon. I'm looking up on Amazon. Sorry, my computer is just super slow right now. Is it because... Oh, you guys, I know why. I know why it wasn't working.